Well, can you see that behind me? That's the Lincoln. Let me get here. You can see it. Oop. You see, it's just too white. Everything is too white back there. That's the Lincoln Memorial. This is the Vietnam Memorial across the street there. This is a soda shop. I don't know if it's open. And that's one of the big avenues. I forget, is that Independence or Constitution? I get confused on a lot of those. But news happening yesterday. It's funny, boy, there's news from the White House. Now that's a surprise, isn't it? But I don't know, you see the title about the government's new mini stimulus plan. Boy, it sounds like an internet scam to me. I watched about 4 different talk shows on Sunday. You know, they have the news talk shows on Sundays to see how both sides of the aisle talk about this thing, you know. And it seems to boil down that by the first show they would say one thing, the second show they say another. By the fourth show, you know, it was changing already, what it was going to do and who's eligible and everything. Boy, it is, you know, it's sort of like watching the gang who couldn't shoot straight. So you got to be very careful with this stuff, particularly this mini one, because it's what's obvious to everybody is, like they say, there's going to be help pay rent. Well, there's no money to do that. It sort of says, oh, they'll look to help pay rent, or something very vague. I mean, it's a great headline, and I know about headlines. I make headlines to get your attention. Yeah. And that's what this is. Oh, we're going to fix you know, people who are behind in rent. Doesn't really look like it. There's no plan to do it, and the plan changes every day, every hour, even in hours. You know, the details of the plan. In other words, the extra stimulus. Well, at first they were going to say, it came out, he signed the agreement that said the states would pay $100 of the extra $400 they're going to give out in the unemployment. So the federal government will pay $300, and the states will give $300 after they signed it. Okay, by the end of the day, they changed their mind and said, no, the states don't have to put in the $100. And that was because the states have no money, and the government, the governors have to approve to do this. In other words, why would a state say, yes, I'm going to give everybody $400 and I have to pay the extra $100, but I don't have the $100, so you can't give the $400. They're not going to commit to that. And also on that, states are not set up. It may take states 2 months to do this. So I don't know how, you know, as opposed to extending the existing one and just changing it. This is something brand new they would have to change. So that means more computers and stuff like that. Plus the money, it's not clear where they say they're going to get the money to pay this and how long. In other words, it may only be a month. It may only be a week. They're talking about now, the only thing I heard in the detail, they really don't know is really the answer is. But there's money at the FEMA for hurricanes. There's about $40 billion set aside for FEMA to pay for people of hurricanes. And I think we're in hurricane season, right? So they may use that. Now, I think they may have the power to do that. So there's another thing. See, the White House, who signed these things, cannot, you know, spend money differently than what the Congress approves. This is why we have 3 branches of government. Keep track on the sharks and all the other branches. Yeah, keep track on each other. So they're planning to use, they think that they maybe have a legal right to use that $40 billion. Now, I don't know how much that goes, or if it goes at all, or whatever. So nobody knows. The only thing that looks like could really happen is the postponement of paying your student loan debts. That's now until September, and I think that will go until the end of the year. So that may be the only real thing that you could count on. Everything else, I would not count on it. And how do you find out if you can count on it or what it happens? Is to call your elected official. I mean, I just listened actually to 3 videos on YouTube about people explaining this. 2 were pretty good. One was, boy, left out a lot of good stuff that, should have been included. So you got to be careful with me or anybody else. You got to go to the horse's mouth to get it. The best you have for the horse's mouth is your elected official. How do you find your elected official? I told you this lots of times, but I know you're a first-time caller. And so you go to commoncause.org, and in there you put Find My Elected Official. commoncause.org, COMMONCAUSE.org. Find My Elected Official. You will have about 7 people there, federal and state, to help you. They have their phone numbers right there. You just call them. Honestly, I say, I don't know what the hell to do. See, the other thing they have in this, there's four parts of it, is extending foreclosures. Now, that's not even clear at all. It sort of said, yeah, we'll try if it, to do like with the CDC, if foreclosing means maybe increase the virus. It's so wiggly woggly, not definite at all. Any side could wiggle in or wiggle out. So far there's nothing definite except the headline, and the headline is definite, but it's not the truth because there's too many ifs, ands, or buts. I don't know how many would fit in that. And that's why even with my headlines, you have to be careful because they're really to attract attention. We have so much media out there, it's so hard to get through to people to grab their attention. So again, don't even trust me. You can't trust anybody. Particularly I'm selling something, so you can't trust them. Elected officials are trying to get elected, and they want a good headline, so you can't trust them. Now, so that's the foreclosure. So it doesn't look like there's real foreclosure help. You received an SBA grant. Oh, great, Lavana. And that's so nice. See, I mean, some of the stuff is real, so you have to, and if anybody charges you for anything, you stay away. You run around away from that so much. We're talking about government programs, they cannot charge you. Now, the other thing they talked about is tax relief. Okay, so first of all, the tax relief is for payroll taxes. If you have a normal job, or if you're on a payroll, you have to pay like Social Security taxes, stuff like that. That's about 7% for the average worker. But don't forget, 30 million people who really need help aren't working. So that doesn't mean anything to the people who really need money. People already have a paycheck, so they're going to get more, but they're going to have to pay it back. What they're saying, though, if the current White House gets reelected, they're going to forgive it. But I don't know if you can forgive it without getting Congress to pass a law to forgive it. Yeah. So there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts, and you're going to get stuck. I mean, I've heard people on the talk shows yesterday saying that governors and people like, or companies don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole because they're going to be stuck with it later, and they'd rather get the pain over with now because the pain may be greater and more uncertain later. So the only thing that's sort of real in this, it seems, that not having to pay your student loans, and that's only government student loans. So if you have a non-government, they may be part of this or not. A lot of those other student loans sort of went along with what the government's doing. So you may be okay, but you better check. How do you check? Okay, again, you go to your elected official, okay, and how do you find your elected official? You go to commoncause.org, and when you get to that website, you put in your address, okay? I see a note. I was just reading the note somebody set up that his PPP loan is intermediary, so you have to work with a bank or somebody. They told him to reapply. And there is more PPP money there, so I would reapply. And when the Congress gets through with the new stimulus package, the PPP is going to be in there too, it looks like, as far as you can't tell till it's real. Same way with this, even though they sign, the White House signs something and says it's law, what you understand is law and what really is law, or what they try to tell you is law and what really happens are two different things. So it's like an internet scam to me. All these internet scams, oh, look at this, you live free and $1 million forever. Yeah. So, never have to worry about, foreclosure forever. All this kind of stuff. Now, people are, and the White House is very good at selling on the internet. So, I would be careful. It is pretty slippery. So you have those 4 or 5 things. The extended benefits may or may not happen. You don't know how long. If it does happen, you don't know who really can get it. If your state decides to be included, and how long it's going to take to get included to get it. It sounds like that could be at least months away. I don't know for sure. I'm guessing just from the other so-called experts that I've been listening to over the weekend. So I'm guessing. So the way to keep up on that is, again, your elected official. If you go to commoncause.org, you get them all there. They're all there. All the elected officials, put in your address and just call on the phone. Best way to get a hold of them. If they have an email, okay, do that too. And then call them all today, sit it down, call them again tomorrow, send them down. It's going to take you 20, 30 minutes, what the hell, because you're either going to get, okay, and if you get on hold, then wait on hold, get a movie to watch or some other work you have to do, and just stay online till somebody gets there. We're all struggling. And the people who work for these elected officials are all struggling. So just make sure that, it's not going to be easy. And more importantly, that the stimulus packages are really slippery things. When the Congress does it, it can't be slippery because they have to go both sides of the aisle. There's too much redundancy with the Congress passing the bill. This and, the White House writing something, he's just writing headlines like I do. So, you got to be careful. And you got to be careful with me too. I don't have anybody who's verifying my stuff. And this White House doesn't have a long record of being truthful, so you got to be careful. And that's true with everything. So, be careful out there. It's a lot of, dangerous things could happen, but more importantly, it's, you're going to get, hopes up and it won't happen. Just plan for the worst, then you go up from there. Anything that happens is a bonus, right? And the most important thing that you keep trying. So this is something, got to look into it. Maybe, maybe not. On this stuff, there's more maybe not. But find out, and that's the way to find out for sure and get this straight skinny. Okay, and if you remember Let's Go Help, I did a live feed yesterday about all sources of places to get pay for health care, pay for health care bills, pay for co-pays, and also pay for living expenses while you have a health condition. And I have a report. You could ask me about it at Let's Go Help. I'll send you all those sources if you can't get it. I forget what it's called. Patientadvocate.org, I think is the name of the organization. Sorry, I don't have it. They have a lot of this stuff, and there's another place, and also medimeds.org has a lot of programs. And these grants that they have, literally thousands of them for people who are ill, you could use them if you're not ill too. So that's important to know. So keep on searching. Now, I know there's a way to get out of this, but it ain't real obvious, is it?